My guest on today's episode is Kathryn Vigness. She is the recent author of her brand new memoir called Growing Wild. And in my chat with Kathryn, we sit down and we talk about what it feels like to be chasing contentment. Kathryn talks about how she was really good at living in the someday, and just listen in for how she shares about her ability to slow down, pay attention to what's happening now, right in front of her, and just find the contentment that she had been striving for by, of course, being the good girl and checking all the boxes and doing things in the right order. She's a soul sister in so many ways, and you're going to love this chat. I can't wait to hear what you take away from it. So without further ado, enjoy this chat with Kathryn. So the chapters of my book that are going up with our episode here is about the ones where I really felt like I was chasing contentment is kind of the theme of these specific chapters, where I literally very much admitted it from the beginning, super type A, super control freak. Like, if I just do this and I do this in this order and this order and this order, then everything's going to be perfect. Like, I've actually said on stage before, it was like graduate from high school, go to college, get a degree, get a job, work for 40 years at that job, retire, and live in Mexico. Yeah. And that didn't happen. No. It didn't so much happen. No. And then also just, so why it was like, Kathryn needs to talk to me is because my dear friend Kathryn wrote a book. So I'll go straight to camera here. It's called Growing Wild. And there were several, many moments in this book where I was reading it and I was like, oh my God, we're the same person. We had the same experience. And so I couldn't wait to have you come on and talk about this whole idea of chasing contentment. So what did that look like for you?
I lived in someday. Yeah, I was really good at living in someday. Because growing up, I was in a severe car accident when I was 15, and a lot of emotions that were around that because my high school sweetheart had passed away, and I was the one driving. And the whole younger years, I didn't want to live in the past, and so as a growing up, I always figured that if my idea of success was that if I worked hard, just like you, I worked hard, I got a degree, I got married, I had children, I worked at a stable job for 40 years, right. Not necessarily living in Mexico, but I would be able to retire, and then I would write a book. Like, that was my dream. I knew that I was going to be an author. I would write a book after retirement. And so I was going to go in the right order and checking off the boxes because that's how you become successful.
Right.
And so I kept
very
thinking,
clear path to what is and what is not.
Absolutely.
Success. Yeah, right.
And that's what they teach you. Or that's what I was conditioned to believe. Yes. That's how I would get there.
Yep.
And getting there was someday. And so I was really great at, okay, here's my goal. I'm going to get towards it. And someday I will be happy. Yep. I never wanted to live in the past because my past was painful. Right. And not only did I lose a high school sweetheart, I lost my brother at a young age as well in a car accident.
Real quick, I do just want to say that is where our stories vastly departure, because the trauma that you went through as a young girl is just, it's unimaginable. And I'm so proud of you for writing about it. It had to be so hard. I mean, there's a catharsis writing about your own story, no matter how, what the scope or range of those feelings or experiences looks like, but that had to be almost traumatic to get back into it. So proud of you. Thank you for that. So, okay, so I can totally understand, not wanting to live in the past when that's what your past held, right?
But the present was not any better because I never felt good enough.
Yeah.
I didn't feel worthy. And everywhere that I looked around was shitty.
Yeah.
And it was just like, okay, well, I'm in the trenches at this point and I'm looking up to the mountaintop.
Yep.
I'm in the trenches and everything around me kind of sucks and it's stuck. You're stuck in the mud. It's raining. It's bogging you down. It's weighing you down. But someday at the top of that mountain, it's going to be worth it.
Yeah.
And so that's where I was really good at living in someday because right now it just sucks. Right. In the past, I just didn't even want to touch. And so, I was really good at knowing that I had a clear plan because that's how they teach you on goals, like goal setting. And
it's pretty damn, it's point A to point B.
Linear. Absolutely.
That's actually in my book directly,
success was clear. One clear straight line.
Mhm.
Like A to B. Yeah, set a goal, make a plan, execute it, boom, done.
Absolutely.
Success.
Well, and I struggled because I didn't want to do anything the easy way. I had to do it my own way. I blazed my own trail,
Right.
and that was a sense of pride for me. Like, it was just like I blazed my own trails, but I still were able to check those check boxes.
Right.
It was able to do it on my own terms. And
when did that fall apart? Like, I mean, pick one.
Right. Well, let's see here. Well, and it was, I look back, even going from college degrees to getting married.
Right.
I thought that once I had a college degree and I was going to be able to have a job and get married and have this perfect life, and realizing that my husband didn't think that quite the same way. He was still going to be working ungodly hours that's just the way he is. He's a workaholic. And I would be home at 6 o'clock thinking that if I had a full meal prepared for him and it was cold by 9 o'clock when he got home, it was just like, wait, this isn't the way that it's supposed to be. Right. So, okay, I'm going to go back to school. I thought one degree isn't good enough. I'm going to go back for a second degree.
Yep.
And then coming off the rails with that because, hey, we're having a baby.
Right.
Oh, that's not the way that it was supposed to work either.
And then let's talk about motherhood, because that was so much of what you wrote about your motherhood experience, like your first time around especially.
Yes.
I felt the same. And it's never exactly the same, clearly, right? Because we're all different people and our babies are different people. But that too was just like, oh my gosh. Because, okay, so tell me, like, tell us, all of us, like what that felt like for you. Because if you had those kinds of idealistic, if you had those images for career and for marriage, you damn well had motherhood, didn't you, Kathryn?
Absolutely.
I did. I was like, look at what a good mom I'm gonna be. That's what I thought.
And I thought, you know what? This baby's going to bring Aaron and I together. He's going to want to be home at 6 o'clock, and then I'll be able to have that family meal, and that we'll be able to live happily ever after.
Right.
And I should have known that my firstborn was going to have plans of his own, because even through my pregnancy, it was a hiccup after hiccup after hiccup of like, oh, this isn't the smooth sailing that I anticipated. And then for him to actually be here, and he was born, and how excited and happy, and it was 29 hours of labor that I thought was, oh golly, I thought it was going to be, you come in and you push and you're done. Like, did you have a
birth plan?
No.
Okay. I had a birth plan.
Oh, no.
Only with the first one. Because, just like, this is stupid. Like, none of those things happen. It's not stupid. I shouldn't judge it. But, again, it literally, for me, was like a prescribed thing. Mm-hmm. If I do these prescribed things, then I'm going to get what I want.
Absolutely. I just knew I needed an epidural. That's all I wanted. I didn't care. Yep. I wasn't going to be winning any marathons at this point.
Yeah.
And even that, so not sure if the epidural would even work with my back. Like, it was just one of those things that if I could even take it, or if I could have had it, I wanted it. And thankfully it works. But it was a long labor. And he's here, and he's perfect, and we're a perfect family. And he was born at 6 p.m. on a Wednesday night. Come Thursday morning, and he was like, well, see you later. I'm going to go to work. Yeah. And I write about it in my book, and I'm like, no, that's not the way that this is supposed to go.
This little person here
needs us.
Yeah, you can't, what? Yeah, I could totally just see, and I mean, just the feelings. Oh my gosh.
And that night, and he's like, what? You know what? Everybody's going to come and visit. Like, you're going to be fine, Kathryn. I'm like, but I want you here. Like, we're going to be together, right? And I had this idea of this perfect, everybody coming in and seeing this new family and being so excited about all of us. And it was not the case. And I remember holding James in the rocker at the hospital, and it was raining outside. It was miserable outside. And just sobbing. My tears were coming down just like the rain. And it was just like, I'm so sorry that I thought you were going to have this perfect little family. And you're not. You're getting me. And I'm a hot mess at this point. Right? Oh, golly. And so then I kept thinking, okay, this is what you get. But someday, when we have a house someday, because we were in a 2-bedroom apartment, or we were in a 1-bedroom apartment at that point. And someday when you have a house and a yard and you'll be able to go play with your dad outside and all this sort of stuff. It was like this big old dream of someday.
Right. So then, what about motherhood? Like, so you have him, so the arrival didn't feel and go exactly as you had planned. What about like the first month of motherhood?
Oh, it was horrible.
It wasn't it?
Oh, it was awful. Like, they expect you to know what to do with it.
I know,
baby.
like, don't send this child. What the hell are you people doing?
Oh my golly. And the pressure of knowing what you needed to do, I didn't know what to. Like,
it was
he
so
would
hard.
cry all the time. And they say, well, he cries when he needs something. I don't know what he needs.
I know.
They don't give you.
I get anxiety. Like, there were earlier here in the coffee shop, there were 2 just tiny little bitty babies, and I was just like,
Oh, I don't
like,
want to go back to.
yeah, I don't either. It's so many people love newborn, and I get that.
I like 5-year-olds.
I do too. I even like 3-year-olds. Like, I like them when they can speak to me and they can articulate what they want or need. So I'm not going like, okay, are they wet? Are they? Oh, it's just the whole checklist, right? Because again, I had checklists for that
And the schedule.
Yeah.
Like, okay, it's 3:00. He needs a bottle.
Yep. I had checklists for everything.
Mm-hmm.
And so we talked a little bit, like, before we started recording here about breastfeeding.
Oh,
Do you want to share any of that story? You shared it in your book.
I sure did. I failed miserably at it.
So did I.
Miserably.
I feel a real solidarity with you about this because
and everybody says it's the most natural, beautiful thing. And I'm like, are you freaking kidding me?
nothing natural about it to me. Yep.
Oh, golly. It was awful.
I thought so too. And, you know, the thing too is that even when I tried to, I didn't talk about it at the time. I didn't have a blog at the time, right? Mm-hmm. But it was after I had our 3rd kid, when I had Brinley, I was blogging. And I went through it again with her. And I was like certain I was going to get it right this time, you know? And if I would share my concerns, what people tended to say to me is, you just didn't have enough support.
Right.
And that's not true. With Andrew, our first, that was not true. I had lactation consultants coming in and out of my house. And I cried every time I fed because it hurt. It never stopped hurting. Mm-hmm. Like, well, something's wrong. And I'm like, well, you figure out what the shit is wrong then. Because I felt so.
Or to wait the 5 weeks. 5 weeks is the magic number. I don't want to do this.
I waited 7 and it never got better, Kathryn. And that for me, and I said it to you again earlier, like, biggest shame of my life, I swear. I thought, right, and again, I read the books, I did the things, I got the help, I did what I was supposed to do, and it still just never clicked for us. And I felt so freaking broken.
Absolutely. Like, this is what I was meant to do. Like, this is what my body is supposed to do, and I'm not able to do it.
And I can't even do this right.
Right. And that was like the precursor to my motherhood experiences. Yeah. Like, if I can't get this right, how am I going to get anything else right?
Right.
How am I ever going to do this by myself? Because at this point, I was solo parenting already.
Yeah.
And it was just like, if I can't, I don't know what to do.
And by the way, solo parenting, because you and your husband are still married, but he was just gone.
He was just gone.
Had a business, had a life that took him away, work that took him away.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
So, I want to say, like, I love us talking about our dark hours. But I mean, I just think that, like, this is real life.
This is real.
And nobody feels okay to just not be okay. And that's, again, like, I would say one of my biggest messages, like, it totally is okay that you don't feel like you have all your shit together right now, friend, whoever you are. Like, if there's somebody listening that's going to be watching this. And I think that for, like, the lesson, the idea of chasing contentment, and the idea of creating an idealized version of things. How did you learn to stop doing that, to stop living in the someday? What either changed for you, or how did you grow? Because I think this is a development thing, right?
Absolutely.
Where we have to go, okay, this isn't so much freaking for me. Like, how did you come through that?
I had to learn to let go of that dream. That it's okay to dream, but not to be attached to that outcome.
Amen.
Because then I was getting stuck on the outcome and not living in the present moment, because I was missing so much of the goodness that was right in front of me. I didn't realize. So I had James and Drew back to back.
How far apart?
They're 18 months.
Yep.
But I remember seeing that positive pregnancy sign.
Freaking back to back.
And I James was sleeping.
Lost your damn mind, did you?
I started sobbing, and he was like, "Yay!" And I was like, "No,
Yeah.
I have a baby. I can't have another one."
Right.
He's sleeping in the other room. I just put him down. He's still in his crib.
And he sleeps now.
Yes.
And this new one's not going to
We
sleep.
just got to this because we had a rocky first 6 months.
I'm so sorry. And that's just it. Yeah, so he's 6 months.
And so I almost had like PTSD.
Of course you did.
And I had postpartum depression with James.
Yes.
And I was just getting out of the throes of it.
Did you get diagnosed with it? Did you?
Undiagnosed.
Yeah, me too.
It wasn't until I had Jack the third time that I realized, oh, is that what that was? That's not normal?
Right.
You mean I'm not supposed to feel like this?
Yeah.
Oh, boy. And so having babies back to back and letting go of that idea of like, okay, well, I'm just going to survive at this point. Right. And so it was more survival than thriving.
Yes.
And it wasn't until I let go of that idea of, because then we were only in this 2-bedroom apartment. We didn't even have a house. Mm-hmm. And even when we did get our house, I thought, well, it's a fixer-upper. Like, when are we going to have time to do this? Mm-hmm. And even though it's a beautiful house and I love it now, but I had to let go of that idea and of that dream of how it should have been.
Right.
And to be able to find gratitude in the little moments that are right now. Because even though I don't have the brand new carpet or the new flooring that it was
so beautiful
that I could post about in my Instagram pictures, but it was hearing the feet running down the hall and the laughter that were echoing around the walls. It was just like I was missing those great moments because I was too busy stewing of what should have been.
Oh God, I think this is so important, Kathryn. I knew I was smart saying, let's have Kathryn talk about this with me, because I actually think that this is the key to most of life.
Yes,
actually,
absolutely.
I talk a lot to women about relationships, and that's what I always talk to them about. So, like, let's just take a traditionally stereotypical, challenging relationship for a lot of women: the relationship of the mother-in-law. Okay, that's just again very stereotypical, but it can be a challenging dynamic. So much of it is letting go of what you think was supposed to be or should have been or could have been, and really looking at that person, taking them, and I think we need to do this with relationships too, take them for who they are, accept them for actually who they are, and then decide, looking at this person, how do I want this person to show up in my life? What do I want this to be? How can I continue to honor myself and have them in my life? Or if you can't, then what does that have to look like, right? Instead of just saying, but it's just not fair, because that's when we become a victim to everything that's happening in our lives, when we are living in this idea of what could be, should be, is supposed to be. Then when we don't get it, then we're sad, right? And that is the shittiest feeling, right? I mean, I'm telling you, like, I 100% get this, because I've always been a big dreamer, and I've always been fairly idealistic. And then when things don't work out the way I think they're supposed to, I get really, really disappointed.
Well, and so those of us who are type A control, it's living at the end of the night when your head is still reeling of the coulda, shoulda, wouldas. Right. Oh, I should have done this, or I could have done this, because I'm not getting the outcome of what my idealized dream.
Right.
So what's wrong with me? How can I fix this? How can I make things better? And trying to fit everything into that small little box. When
perfect, tidy little box with the perfectly 90-degree, perfect little 90-degree angles, right?
And I realized that I am not a box person. Right. You know what? I'd rather not be in the box anymore. Like, I had to let go of that dream of the box to be able to step out of it and realize there's so much more room to color out here.
Right.
There's no restrictions here. I can morph and I can evolve into the person that I want to be.
Right.
And to meet people where they're at. Absolutely.
Yes.
Instead of trying to polish this turd of that it's not going anywhere. And slap another mask on, or slap some lipstick on, or slap on another emotion that is not serving me. Like just putting up that wall and faking it till I make it. I don't want to fake it. I want to show up as who I am and say, you know what, this is where I'm at.
Well, and I think too, like, I'm always going to strive for my own growth, for my betterment, for all of those things. So for me, it's this balance of recognizing that striving for more doesn't mean I'm unhappy with what I have or where I am.
Absolutely.
Or that I'm not broken and dysfunctional and a loser because of where I am.
Absolutely.
That I'm still growing. And I love the idea of truly trying to look at what you have and saying, what is good in this? Because there is always something to hold on to for that. And instead of waiting for what? Because what if it doesn't come? What if tomorrow actually doesn't come? We're not promised it. So,
and that's the whole point of growing wild. Like, that's the whole definition of being able to grow wild it's not a straight road.
A perfect linear path.
Right. It's going off that beaten trail and blazing your own trails and realizing that wild is a good thing. And however you grow and however you move forward is exactly where you need to be. And so, yeah, it's being able to understand that and appreciate that and find gratitude. And I feel like there's a difference between gratitude and appreciation. Gratitude is looking at the past events and finding something that to be thankful for, or finding the silver lining in that moment.
Yep.
But appreciation for where we are at this present moment, right? And being like, okay, I'm in the trenches right now, and it's really hard and it sucks.
Yep.
But at the same time, I can appreciate because I know that I'm going to be stronger for next time, or I know that it's only temporary.
Yep.
The shit that I'm in right now is only temporary because I have a whole lifetime of realizing that it's not going to be this painful or this bad at the moment.
Right.
And that I'll be able to grow from it. And this is just my wildflower moment.
Yeah. The idea that, like, you have actually survived 100% of your really shitty days.
Absolutely.
So sometimes we do just need to remind ourselves of all the good that can come from struggle.
Absolutely. And that's where personally, that's where I find my contentment. Because I know, I have already survived this much.
Right.
How can I make tomorrow better?
Thank you so much for coming on. Oh, I can't wait to hear the feedback on this topic.